possible to insert tables into Google Docs. They work reasonably well, they look effective, but if you're wanting something a little more complicated, it's probably worth looking across to Google Sheets. So anyhow, it goes in just as normal. Wherever you have the cursor is where it will insert. So I'm going to press enter to bring my cursor down below 7/9 add 4/8. I'm going to go up to insert, just like with images, and I go to insert table, and it brings me up this little matrix, and as it stands, that would give me a table that is 1 square by 1 square. So I'm going to make myself a 5 square by 4 square table, and just like that, it'll put it onto the table, onto the sheet for you. Now, it's made all the cells the same width, all the columns the same width, and it's given the rows the same width as each other as well. So it's made me a nice, even table. It will always fill the space you put it in. So, for example, if I decide I want to insert a table that is 2 by 1, it'll give me 2 nice long columns. It takes up the same amount of room. Just to prove that, I'm going to insert underneath. I'm going to have a, notice I can stretch it out. I'm going to have an 18 by 5. So if you think about that, it's taking up exactly the same width, going up to the edges of the margins of the page. So if I fiddle with the margins, I can make it even broader. Obviously, it's carrying on with the same font. I'm still in the same font and size I was. So at the moment, these are going to be humongous for my cells. So I am best off maybe dropping my font down a little bit. I mean, this size table for writing in is probably a little bit extreme anyway. If I want to adjust the size of different boxes, I can do. So this one, I could easily just slide them across there by grabbing one box. So I've got a small box and a little box. I could make the cells long, the table itself longer by grabbing on the bottom edge. Notice how the cursor changes to a little double arrow. And bring it down a bit further like that. I could decide that actually I want to put another row underneath it. I could be building a bar model or something like that. So I could quite easily say insert the row above, insert row below. So I have a row above, please. It gives it exactly the same. And then I've got another row I can behave. Notice I've selected this column. I can adjust again and change the size of my boxes. I can shrink them down, make them narrower. And I can also, if I want to, insert columns to the right. If I decide actually, that was a bit of a mistake, I want to get rid of a row, I can easily at any point say delete row. I can delete the row above or the row below as well. If I want to delete the whole thing, I could just go to delete table. One little cool feature that gets forgotten about is this distribute rows and distribute columns. To do that, I'm going to show you a slightly wonky table, show you how powerful that tool can be. So I want to get rid of that table, so I'll delete that table. I'll delete this table as well. I'm going to insert a 3 by 2 table. Now I'm going to make it so I've got a really skinny, narrow column in the middle. I'm going to shrink this one a bit so it's slightly different. So all my columns are different sizes. If I click on the table and I say distribute columns, it'll make all the columns the same width, but still filling the overall width will be the same. So it won't change my overall width, but it will make all the columns equal size. So if you've been in lots of little bits of shunting backwards and forwards on the edges, that's a really effective tool to make it back to normal size. So make my table bigger, I just drag one column out wider, and I say distribute columns, and it'll even it all up for me. It does exactly the same with rows. So if I've got a humongous row at the top and a tiny row at the bottom, distribute columns, distribute rows, I've got a nice even table. Again, very effective and a lot better than messing around pressing enter or fiddling around with font sizes trying to make things fit. And that is how we insert a table into Google Docs.